Hey guys, Liza Hudson from ConversionWise here, and welcome to a free landing page audit session. So guys, as always, before I jump into the video of today, a couple of announcements. If you are not a member of our Facebook group, Conversion Rate Community, then make sure you come on over and ask to join. This is a completely free group. In here, you'll find loads of useful tips and tricks, a really supportive community. And of course, if you'd like to get your page audited, then this is where you will need to be a member. And guys, if you're currently joining us from the community and you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you do. There is a crazy amount of free content in here. We are all about sharing our knowledge, so do make sure you click the subscribe and don't forget the notification bell as well. Now, it's been a while since I've done one of these sessions for the community. I've been doing lots of audits, but not so much for the community, so I'm very, very excited to be doing this one today. Now, for anybody that hasn't been here before or hasn't seen one of these videos, then essentially what I'm going to do is I've chosen 4 pages today from links that people have been dropping in the community over the last week or so, and I'm going to run through and basically pull out some areas where you guys can make tweaks, changes, improvements in order to keep pushing the needle on your conversion rate. Now, with me, as always, I have my 2 little trusty tools. So I've got Built With. This is just a great site to see what you guys are using to create your pages. And of course, we've got tools.pingdom.com, which is just a little free page speed tester. So it's always a good tool to use if you're looking to see what's going on with your speed. So before I go into the content, I'm just going to start dropping this first page in. Now, again, for anybody that hasn't watched these before, here at ConversionWise, we have been designing pages for our clients for over 10 years, and we always work to conversion design principles. Now, we know that if we implement these particular items within a certain location, then you're going to get a stronger conversion rate out of the gate. So lots of quick wins always to be had, and I do get great results in these sessions, so I am excited to click in. So load speed 2.1, and what are we using to build? WordPress. Okay, so it is a page within a site, but ultimately for a lead gen page, I would be expecting you to have a slightly quicker load speed. Do take a little look at that. Obviously, load speed is absolutely one of those critical items when it comes to conversion. The first thing I always recommend that you check is really simple one, is your imagery. So are you making sure that all of your images are compressed as much as they possibly can be? That can sometimes gain you some valuable seconds. So again, for those of you that haven't been here, back to those conversion design principles. Now, the flow that we always follow is something called the ADA principle. Now, we have tweaked this slightly when we create our pages, but the basic flow of it is this. Up here above the fold, you should be grabbing my attention. As we scroll through, I'm going to cheat and have a little look as we go. You should be starting to pique my interest. You should then be going through the desire section. And then, oops, we're at the end, and then ending on an action. So first and foremost on this page, I recommend that flow is implemented with 2 tweaks, which I will come to as we go through the page. So let's start with the hero section. I am looking for 5 key elements. I'm looking for your call to action, your imagery, your headline, trust, and social proof. So we've got a lot of these things. However, the overriding thing that I get when I look at this page is very, very difficult to read, way too busy. And most of that is coming from the imagery and the fact that we're just chopping this whole hero in half and going into a large block of text. So I'm not going to go too deep. I'm going on the quick wins today, guys. Okay. So we have got, let's start with the headline. Get a free online quote from a reliable, tidy and professional tree service in Kettering today. So you're stating the location, you're saying that it's free, you're reliable, tidy. I actually don't have too big a problem with that headline, to be honest. What I have an issue with here is that this is impossible to read. And you might be screaming at me right now saying, I can read that. Well, of course we can read it if we focus in on it. But the whole point of these bullets, which I'm so happy to see that you have, are that they pop from the page and that they talk about the key benefits of me using you as a service. So, we'll turn up when we say we will. So you're leaning on that reliability, leaving it tidy, which is great, quick, free quote, fine. However, the imagery is not doing you any favors. The imagery absolutely works in terms of your product, service, and offering. But we need to rethink this so that we can actually see these key elements. Love the fact that we've helped hundreds of happy customers. That's fantastic to see. You're using an emotive term here, which is really, really good. What I personally would like to see here, though, as well, is for you to have your star rating. But I'd really like to see a review above the fold here as well. You've got a hint at trust here, so we respect your privacy. I'm very glad to see that you have this. Trust comes in many, many shapes and forms when it comes to lead generation. Perhaps you guys are accredited, anything like that. Get that in seal form above the fold for your consumers. Worst case, Norton, McAfee, anything like that. It's a data transaction that we're doing here. This call to action, I'd take it out of this green. It kind of, again, it just blends in. The red stands out. It's lovely to see that you're using a contrasting color for your call to action, but the green form itself is just starting to blend in, makes it all look, again, a little bit messy. I'd also say, you've got your get a quick free quote, get my free tree quote. I don't know why we need it twice. I'd probably say take action now and get my quote now, or use the free up here or down here. Either way, what we need to do is add the word now on here to make this an action-based call to action. So the key thing with this is that you are hitting the elements. You just need to take them to the next level. So we need that review above the fold. We need some more trust icons, and we need to focus in a little bit on the actual usability of this page from a consumer's standpoint, which is, of course, that the text shows up and that call to action, that form doesn't just sort of blend into the background. Now, as we go down through the AIDA principle, we should be basically now piquing their interest. And I'm going to tell you all something which many will have you screaming at the page and saying, why, Liza? Why should I do this? It's obvious. Well, the whole point is it's not obvious to everybody. The whole point, especially when you are running any paid traffic, is to reduce all friction and make your pages, for want of better words, idiot-proof. We need to just break everything down for the consumer. Someone that understands will just skim past this next section. That's absolutely fine. But for those that need a little more kind of helping hand, it's where this next section comes into play. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about what we call the transformation section, otherwise known basically as a process step. So the issue I have with your page, before I go into that, is that this is there's nothing wrong with long form copy. Okay, long form copy absolutely has its place. However, for this page, there are no repeat calls to action. There's nothing to draw my eye to any of these sections. I think you really need to rethink how the content is presented. However, back to the process steps. So something along the lines of getting your free quote is as easy, or getting your trees trimmed, or whatever you want to say, is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Number 1, fill out the form. Number 2, so use the number 2, a little icon, and then a little piece of text. What is step 2? Are you going to send me an email? Are we going to get on a call? Explain to me the next step in the process. And then step 3 is the transformational step. So what do I mean by that? Well, once I've got my quote, once I've hired you, once you've come and trimmed my tree, what am I feeling then? Well, I'm feeling super happy that my garden's looking beautiful again, or however you want to put it. So it's the end goal result after I've used your service, which is the key benefit to your consumer. So number 1 is what the consumer needs to do. Number 2 is what you will do to fulfill whatever this is. And then number 3 is the key benefit end goal to the consumer. And then ideally, let's have another little repeat call to action. So then I would go down into your content. Again, I'm not going to go into all of this. This is far too text heavy. If you insist on keeping it this way, make sure you're bolding out some keywords to draw your consumers' eye. Don't be afraid of having smaller bullet sections to really grab your consumers' interest. Again, especially when you're running paid. So I think we just need to rethink the way that this is presented slightly. And even if you don't, like I say, which I think you should, I would seriously consider, or I would suggest straight away, that you get yourself some repeat calls to action in as we go through these pages. Because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the only call to action is on the hero section. Now, if on mobile you've got a sticky CTA, that's fantastic, but you still need to have those visual directional cues for your consumers that there is an action to take. So still recommend that you get those repeat calls to action as you go through. So what is missing from this page, unless I'm being blind? Nope, I'm not. Okay, so what is missing from this section in the ADA flow? So we've got attention, 5 key elements above the fold. Interest, we start with the process step. Then we want the key hard-hitting content for your consumer in your interest section. Then we want a desire section, so a social proof section. It's absolutely imperative that you get this onto the page itself. So give it a nice headline, see what our, very happy customers, satisfied customers are saying, see what they're raving about. Again, always try and keep your headlines nice and emotive. And then get yourself a minimum, and I do mean a minimum, of 3 reviews on the page itself. So 5 elements to a high converting review. Number 1 is an authentic image of the person or persons giving this review. Number 2 is the star rating that they are given. Number 3 is a little headline. Number 4 is the review itself. And then number 5 is the actual person's name. So there's 5 elements to a really high converting review. But at the very, 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 very least, you need to get the basics. You need to get the image, you need to get the name, and you need to get the review. So you've got to get those on the page. Then I would expect to see a repeat calls to action. All of your calls to action, whether we're talking e-commerce or lead gen people, all of your calls to action should be backed up by supporting buffers. So what are supporting buffers? Well, super simple. In lead generation, you can use firstly your social proof, so your star rating, and then it's going to be some form of privacy guarantee, any recognizable seals, people that you work with, things like that, companies you've worked for. All of that good stuff is really, really important when you're supporting your call to action. Then the next step, which we don't have here. So again, we think about that ADA flow. We've talked about attention. We've talked about interest. We've done desire. Now, technically, we would be going into action, but everybody needs to include one more step before we get to the action. And that is an FAQ section. FAQs can help with your Google AdWords campaigns. They can help with so many things, but first and foremost, they're going to help with your conversions. So what we want to do is address the top 5 questions that you get asked. Just literally headline it. Have you got questions? We've got you covered. Boom. Hit those questions. If somebody got to the bottom of this page, and this is quite an informative page in terms of context, but if somebody got to the bottom of the page, it means they're looking for something. So we don't want them to call you. We don't want them to wander off or contact you. Not really. The goal of this page was to fill out the form. Therefore, what we want to do is address those barriers to entry here and now on the page. And then finally, sorry, I know I've spent ages on this page, but finally, we should have go in again with a headline. We should go in again with the key kind of benefits to the consumer, call to action, social proof, and trust. So whilst this page has got loads of what looks like quite cool content on here, and if you are relying, maybe maybe this is like SEO. I can't imagine it would be just SEO for this, but for anyone that's shouting at me saying, oh, it's SEO, we still need to follow those key principles. So we need calls to action, we need that flow, we need those killer headlines and all that good stuff. So a few changes. There's some really cool stuff on here, but I'd love to see those additional changes go into play. Let's go to the next one, which is a gym equipment store homepage. So obviously, depending on the type of page, so whether it's, I don't know, a home page or a product page or whatever the purpose of your page, that will dictate slightly kind of, the fact that you might have more than one call to action, completely expected on a homepage. If you can, whenever you're driving traffic, try and take people to a page where there's very little except the action that you want them to take. So let's see what this is being built with. So we've got a Shopify page. Let's see what the load speed is. Not too bad for a Shopify store, if I'm honest. Now, obviously, we can always go quicker and want to go quicker, but that's not too bad because Shopify has a habit of loading the whole store a little slower than we might like. So yeah, not too bad. Obviously, there will be things that you guys can have a look at in order to increase page speed. But firstly, guys, some people get really obsessed on page speed, and it's absolutely correct. You should really be thinking about page speed. But if you have a super fast page which contains no conversion principles, it's not pointless, but it's almost pointless. Focus on those main things first. Think about the 80-20, so focus on those main things first, then start looking into the kind of page speed and optimizing. Always focus in on the highest impact stuff first and then work your way through. So what have we got? Strength and cardio equipment, sale, shop now, some trust, reviews, a product, and the end. Okay, cool. So e-commerce stores, home pages, again, they absolutely still follow the ADA flow. Now, like I said, guys, today I'm focusing on the quick wins. Once these have been implemented, once you see your results, then you can redrop your pages and we start to focus and tweak higher and higher. But for now, let's focus on the main things. What I would say, obviously, I'm looking for those 5 key elements. So I'm looking for imagery, call to action, trust, social proof. I've forgotten my 5th element. Imagery, headline, there we go. Goodness me, headline. Sorry, trust, social proof, and so forth. So we've got some trust icons here, so that's cool. We've got a call to action. I'll come to that in a moment. The headline is not really a headline, it's a descriptor. The imagery works, and we've got the call to action, but again, we have no social proof here. But what I'm curious about is, I'm assuming there's meant to be something here. I don't know, because why would I be able to close it? I would recommend firstly that you do have a toolbar above, one which calls out your sales. So a few things for toolbars. Toolbars are an underrated little powerful thing. You should be calling out any shipping bumps in your toolbars to obviously help to increase your average order value, calling out any sales. You should be adding scarcity in there, like order today to avoid disappointment. All this kind of good stuff should be in there. I do feel like this is rather busy. I sort of get why you've done it, but I just feel like we could probably make this a little tidier. It's this section that kind of makes it look really busy. But anyway, quick wins, toolbars, first and foremost. Headline, we need something emotive, something strong, and emotive about, why your equipment is the best. Why should we get this from you? So this is a great strap line, but it's not a strong headline. Love the fact that we got a sale. The call to action, it stands out for its sheer size. But personally, again, I would rather see this in a different color. Now, I'm not suggesting that you make this look like a dropship store or anything, which really, really, really jars. However, I do want something which absolutely pops from the page. Now, we love green, we love Amazon Gold. Both of those colors we know work really, really well. That being said, I know some people are very, very brand protective, and I get it. but it's the conversions you're after, right? So we want people to shop as quickly as possible. I don't think we need to rely on the size of the button. I think we need to make this slightly smaller, the right color, and be backing it up with some social proof as well. So I want to see a star rating up here. I feel like you could probably pull this down slightly and just have these peeking across the bottom here. These aren't bad little sort of trust icons. If you don't have any of those featured in or anything like that, then these can also act as trust icons, and normally you just sort of butt them up against the banner at the top. But I can see here that you're actually trying to link me out to other places. I mean, free shipping over 100, that should be in your banner, in your toolbar. I'm not sure why you're trying to take me off to a review page instantly. What I want to see is the review here. Yes, I want to go to a review page at some point, probably, possibly. I'd like to see them on the page as well. But I would recommend that you get your social proof up above the fold. So we've got change of headline, change of call to action, both color and size. We've got the addition of star rating, potentially your toolbar, and if you can, get yourself a lovely little review up there. We then go into your top categories, which, collections make sense, to be honest. Not a fan of the light. I don't even know what that word is. It's like a call to action, but it's not, where it's kind of faded out. I don't know. I think it could be a little bit stronger, but there's nothing wrong with this. And in all honesty, totally understand why you go into your collections. Interesting one. Do we do the process step on a homepage? Absolutely. So still get yourself one on. So this, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, we need some reordering on this page. So here, rather than having your reviews, I want one of the reviews above the fold, but this is going to go further down the page, believe it or not. This is where we want to see that transformational step. So, getting your equipment is super simple. We make this as easy as we can. 1, 2, 3. 1, choose your products. 2, we'll get it to you in such and such time. 3, you'll benefit from our awesome range of products, right? These are not low ticket products from what I can see. I haven't gone further into the store, but I did just notice just now it wasn't very low ticket. So with higher ticket things, trust is huge, absolutely huge. How do we convey trust? Again, it comes in the form of recognizable brand icons. It comes in payment icons. It comes in some user-generated content, actually, is very, very important for higher tickets. People can envision it, see it in use, see it in their location, all kinds of ways. But anyway, I digress. Firstly, let's do that lovely process step. Relocate this. What's next? That's reviews. On these reviews, okay, so all of the images here look like stock images, right? They just look like images from your range. So what we need is the person or the product in its real life setting. So you do need to work on these. When you're on your reviews, just a point to note, guys, as well, when you're on your review, get your words out, Liza, you can bold out the best part of the review to draw the consumer's eye as well. But we've got the star rating, we've got the headline, we've got the review, we've got the name. We just need to nail that image. Also, just grab these into speech marks as well. Find your outlet with staff favorites. So this is more kind of collections. And then we go into a cell. So this is on desktop. I know on mobile it'll be slightly different. But in terms of the reason we do these on desktop, guys, is because when it comes to the mobile, everything we teach in our YouTube channel, in our academy, we actually have our own academy course. Everything that we teach is about conversion design elements, and they need to be implemented throughout your pages. Now, that's absolutely the exact same as if we're doing it on mobile. The only difference on mobile is that we are checking the padding. We're making sure that we're not overly elongating the page, that we are, presenting it in a kind of user-friendly way, non-friction and all that good stuff. But the principles and these core elements are absolutely identical. Now, I'm referring specifically to desktop for this particular page right now. This image does not really do this justice, just purely because of the way it's located. It almost looks like a bit of an afterthought. We're sort of going into the other scroll. We're not filling this space properly. You know, we've got a high ticket item, you know, it's $7,000. But this does not portray to me the trust of a $7,000 product. So we need to be hypercritical and hyper aware, which you should be regardless of the price point of your product. But when you have a higher ticket product, you should be even more so aware. So I think you just need to work on the imagery here, give some people some thumbnails as well. You're trying to make this sale from the homepage. So we need to make sure that I've got all the information I would need. You've got the headline here. Again, always try and keep these emotive. So think about the key, you know, get fit with, you know, increase what strength, you know, so let's get an emotive kind of headline going on in here. I love the fact that you are showing me the saving. This is great. Really nice to see. I'd add some scarcity in here. So, you know, probably say like limited stock, or you can have the little in stock icon, which is kind of flashing at you. It hints that it might go out of stock. I would probably add some actual scarcity here. This you need to change. You need to get this into some very hard hitting key benefits, bullet points, as well as a little bit of content here. You do need to keep this hard hitting, you know, with the key benefits of this particular product. We've got free reviews, which is great. I personally would probably get one here and now. The reason I'm going so hard on this is because you are giving me the option to buy this from the homepage. Therefore, you need to think of this almost like a little in isolation product page moment. So all the things I would expect to see on your product page, I'm expecting to see here right now. The add to cart is a little innocuous. At least it's yellow. It stands out. I'd probably say, you know, add to cart now or get it now. If you are adverse to emojis, completely understand, but use a little chevron here just to give the physical directional cue for your consumer. You also need to include here your payment icons. Really important that you add the payment icons here that you take so it goes underneath this call to action. With your stars, change them in color, take them to green, take them to yellow, or if you're in a country where Trustpilot is well known, then turn them to the green. But don't keep them the same color as your branding. They lose impact. We want to make sure that that social proof absolutely stands out. I understand you're trying to increase brand awareness. I would not have this here at all, not by my sale. I'd have had this further down on my homepage, maybe in my header, maybe in my footer. I would not for a moment have this anywhere near my actual sale. We see this on product pages as well. And it's like, it's the worst traffic distraction you can possibly have. We get it. You want to increase brand awareness, but if you are paying for people to come here, and even if you're not, this is not a good place to have these kinds of distractions and traffic leaks. You then go down into your guides, which is almost like your blog. So what I would expect to see here is going to be that social proof section from above. I think that needs to be built out a bit more. I'd want a FAQ section here as well. So your top 5 FAQs. And then what I'd really like to see is just that you funnel me off into buying something at the end of the page. So a few tweaks here, main things, payment icons, repeat calls to action, cleaning up that hero section, improving that social proof section, which I'm super happy to see that you have, tweaking the content to be more benefits driven rather than features driven. This is a very features driven page. And of course, adding in that nice process step as well. So let's go on to the next page. I'm nearly halfway through. Now, guys, if you would like to see your page audited, then all you need to do is be a member of our community. So it's the ConversionWise community. You can click the link underneath this video if you'd like to join. And of course, if you are not already a member, then do make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're always dropping content. It's been a while since I've dropped one of these, so I've been very, very happy to do this today. And let's have a look at what you built with. Now, guys, built with is just a really cool little tool. If you look at someone else's site and think, oh, how do they do that? Well, you can come into built with, you can have a look, you can see what apps they're using, they're built on. It's just a really, really cool site. So this is a WooCom. Ooh. See, this kind of proves the point, guys, that these performance grades, a lot of people say, oh, my performance grade is really low, but my page is loading really fast. And this is an example of the reverse, which does happen more often than you'd think. We have a major issue with load speed on this page. So when I talked to you before about the actioning the biggest, quickest wins, kind of biggest impact stuff first, this is a big impact thing. So a load speed of this time is going to crucify you in every way, shape and form. So run this a few times, get an average, don't always rely on the first readout that you get. Use your Google Page Speed Insights, all of those tools, check out your speed. And first and foremost, you need to figure out what's affecting the speed of this site, because this would be, I'd just bounce back off. Your bounce rate would be really high. So even though the performance is good, the load speed, which is, let's be honest, the main thing, is not good. So why, oh why is your page so slow? Just having a quick look. Interesting. It's certainly not imagery. It's not videos. Yeah, I'd get your dev guys to take a little look. So there's some really good page speed devs out there as well. So don't ever be afraid to have a look at those. So obviously here we've got a home page. Purpose of a home page, you need to define your purpose. Is it to funnel me to one of your solutions? Is it to get me to drop a lead? Like, again, depends on your primary goals, but we want to make sure it's super obvious for your consumers what's going on. So first things first, 5 key elements: headline, call to action, imagery, trust, and social proof. I don't see any social proof and I don't see any trust. Imagery is okay. What's your headline? Lead for business. So that's your brand name. Get high quality leads, direct contact data on any prospect, converting more prospects into customers. Okay, so for one, we need a way stronger, more emotive headline here. What is the benefit of me generating more leads? Typically speaking, end goal, it's going to be an increase in revenue, right? It's growing my business, it's scaling my business, which all has an impact on our finances. And that's what people love to hear. So I would consider changing your headline to be a headline. This is the name of your business. And this is just a statement. So you can incorporate these, but make it more emotive. You're giving me what is essentially a couple of bullet points, but the way that it's presented in these 2 sentences is not very strong. It doesn't stand out very well. I'm not sure about this design. Everything kind of squished in. This bit to me looks a bit random. So turn these into bullet points. Have 3 hard-hitting bullet points. So guys, always go with 3 or 5. Never go with 2 or 4. We have data which backs this up. An odd number of benefits will benefit you greater. So no social proof here. Need to see a star rating for you guys as a company. We need to see some trust. And funnily enough, when I scrolled, here we go. This is your trust. So we have over 100 plus customers. Again, I think we can work on all these headlines, but these are brands. These are brand labels, brand logos, which people in your niche, your experience will be familiar with. So this content needs to be positioned just across the bottom of your hero section. Okay, so absolutely fantastic. First time I've seen some brands used today. So make sure, trusted by 100 plus companies, and then we have those running across here. We actually don't have a call to action above the fold, which is kind of interesting. What is this? This is nothing. Okay, so What is it you want me to do next? Are you trying to take me to a solution? Are you trying to get me to drop a lead? Like, what is it that you want your consumers to do next? Because without a call to action, you're not being very obvious for your consumers. Now, please, when you do have a call to action up here, make sure that it is not any shape or form of blue. What's interesting to me is that when I first looked at this page, I actually thought this was your call to action. It's not, it's just a headline. I would take your headlines out of this blue as well. It looks like calls to action. I know that sounds really silly, but again, it's about making it very, very obvious for your consumer. So get accurate B2B e-commerce and Amazon seller leads, 24 hours delivery. Okay, drive growth. Delivers accurate dialed hours emails to boost up sales with less work. Yeah. So, okay. So we need to work on the headlines, again, keeping it more benefits driven to your consumers. This is good. Boost up sales, less work. I like that. Again, grab yourself a process step in here. What is it you want your consumers to do? Or maybe explain your process to your consumers. So, when I click get started, what's going to happen next? So let's make sure that's super clear. Change the color of these calls to action. Make sure that they stand out so they are not this blue that we are doing. I love the fact that you're starting to do some bullets, but again, this is just looking to bold out some of these keywords. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got 8 here. Let me just read some of this. Lead for this lead generation platform. Connect directly. Get valid. Sorry, I've just gone quiet. Okay, so you've got a service, which is going to help people. What you don't do anywhere is really sort of speak to the pain points at all, in your content. And I don't think we've come across that anywhere today so far. Like, no one's really spoken to the pain points of their consumers. Are you struggling to get leads? Like, you're fed up with using all of these different platforms, all of these different vendors, like using people's emotions to kind of pull out and make them aware of their problem can be really quite beneficial as well when it comes to conversion. So definitely worth thinking on those lines for content. But obviously, as we said, we're talking about quick wins for now. So main thing here is we just need to change this hero, have a strong headline, get yourself 3 bullets up here, have a call to action, get some social proof, and reorder your trust that you have further down the page. In terms of content, we then do finally have a call to action. I think this could just be presented stronger. I'm a big fan of green ticks. If you're going to use ticks, use green ticks because it means yes, done, yes, done. Green is go, right? So I think you've gone too heavy into your blue here. And obviously these are like the little leads. We should have had a call to action here somewhere. These little links are not strong enough. I would have expected to see some repeat calls to action as we go through. Here you start to bold out some of the keywords. I'd have expected that further down, further throughout the page. Again, looks like a kind of call to action. Way too text heavy. Break these up so that there's spacing between these little paragraphs. And again, bold out the keywords. But I love the fact you're starting to use some icons against your text. You're kind of trying to break it up a little bit. This just needs to be presented a bit stronger. Increase your sales, drive growth. Why you should choose. There's a lot of content on here. Get start. Bad grammar. Should be get started. And also, again, this is almost invisible, so it's just a random call to action, get started. So I'd probably change that. I'd have calls to action as we go through the page as well, like I said. Love the fact that we've got a review section. We've got image, name, star rating, and, of course, the review. So really nice. Just grab yourself a little headline for each of these. I don't know if these are stock or not. But they look okay. Also change this, what our clients say, it's like, see what our successful or happy clients are saying, again, just make this a little bit more emotive. I would have expected a call to action here. So the call to action to get started after I've seen my social proof. Then we go down into blogs. So here I want to see the frequently asked questions section. And then obviously we're down into our blogs. And then ideally, I'd love to see a final little call to action with a headline and then a let's get started now kind of call to action. So there's a lot I could go into this page in terms of the way the content is presented. However, I just want to focus on getting the key elements in. So as we've said, calls to action, supporting buffers, relocate your trust, add in those bullets, social proof above the fold, and the let me think, process step, and of course an FAQ section as well. So next page. I know why I chose this page. So this page is obviously not in English, but more to the point, for some reason, I am unable to translate the page. So whilst I cannot possibly comment on the content, it doesn't matter when it comes to some of the key elements, which is why I wanted to kind of just include that one anyway, just to show that it's still a structure and flow kind of thing as well as content. So crazy good. Like crazy good. What is this built on? Is this custom WordPress? Well, that's impressive. Okay, let's have a look at the page. Very impressive, firstly. So really cool. Let's have a look. This is obviously a homepage. We've got, can I recognize any? Yeah, so obviously we've got WordPress, Shopify, Magento. So it looks like we're optimizing something. We've got a lead form, SEO. Obviously I can figure that one out. Core Web Vitals. Okay, cool. Okay, so again, structure, flow, function. Let's have a look. First thing, headline, hero section. The hero is very all over the place. It's rather disjointed. The image, so I would expect the image to fit above the fold, unless this is just your hero section, which is still not a good thing because I'm sitting here wondering, you see. So would love to see the imagery either up above the fold or not, in which case, let's utilize some color above the fold. With form fields, guys, put them into an actual form. So box the format, I think, like we saw on here, despite this being the wrong color, do actually box your forms out. It just makes for a tidier, more appealing kind of unit. You're not asking for a lot of information here. I don't know I know it says send, but again, make this an action-based call to action. So, whether this is get in touch now, get in contact today, or however, you want to add the now or the today. So you want to add an action to your call to action. Can't comment on the headline. I don't think we have social proof here. If we do, it's not obvious that we have social proof here. So at the very least, I'd expect to see a star rating. And ideally, I'd like to see a review above the fold when we're up here. What I do like is that you have some calls to action as we go through the page. Obviously, we've got a tool that we can kind of play with here as well. Again, I'd like to understand as a consumer what it is you kind of want from me. So at some point during this page, I'd love to see that little process step. Wherever you have calls to action, sorry, let me go back. What I don't see here is any form of trust. Now, you've got WordPress, Shopify, Magento, Dan Domain. These are all recognizable words, brands. Why not use their brand logos? If there's a reason why you can't, then don't. But, if it's like, people that we're partnered with or affiliated with or, recognized by, those are trust icons. So I would use the WordPress logo, the Shopify logo, the Magento logo. Again, it's about using icons that people recognize to help instill trust in your service. As we go down in terms of content, again, just don't forget to bold out any keywords. I think this is your FAQ section. It must be because we got question marks at the end. Oh, and then we're at the end. So you are following the flow. The one thing that we're missing here is before this FAQ section, I'd expect to see your social proof section on the page itself. Again, headline it and so forth. So yeah, attention above the fold, form fill, trust icons, social proof, all that good stuff. As we go down into your content, try and keep it tidy. Use bullets where you can to have higher impact, and then use supporting buffers like we've discussed, whether it's star rating, trust icons, all that good stuff when it comes to lead generation. For your next section would be your social proof section. These are, I'm assuming these are FAQs because we've got a question mark at the end of each of them, in which case give this a title. So make sure that you actually title this particular section. Love that. You then go into your speed tests. I think these are like little case studies almost. So these might be case studies, which is cool. And then we go into, want to learn more, I should imagine, let's get in contact. So try and keep your calls to action really, really petty point, but try and keep them same size, same consistency, same shape, same text, wherever humanly possible. And again, just back this up with those final elements. So for me, the only reason I want to pull this up is because even when a page isn't in a language that you understand, there's still a logic, there's still conversion design elements that need to be included. So this one needs its process step. It needs its social proof section with the visuals, with the people's kind of reviews and images. And again, like the hero section needs some tweaking. So guys, I have been speaking to you for absolutely ages. I hope that you have enjoyed this session. Like I said, if you want to see one of your pages on here, then you'll see that I'll drop a post in the community in the next week or so. Drop your page. But for those of you whose pages these are, please let me know how you get on. And I can't wait to hear the results of your session.